right, let's go. Division E. We've got a matchup this morning between the two teams with the most difficult names to say. A matchup between Big Walt the Mole Super Team up against Sean Enjoys Talking to Strangers in Derelict Urban Structures. So these are the 1 and 2 seed in Division E. Big Walt, 1530 player. The Mole, 1430. Steve on the latter team, 1520. Sean, 1430. So very comparable 1v1 elos. We'll see who can put together the better team performance. With that, let's roll. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to need a shorter name for this. What are we going to call these guys? I am not saying these whole names over and over. We're going to go with Mole Team and Sean the Derelict. All right, let's roll. Game 1, Arabia. Don't remember exactly what the home maps were. I could take a peek at those real quickly here. We're looking at Gold Rush as the home map for the Mole Super Team, and Steppe as the home map for Sean Enjoys Talking to Strangers in Derelict Urban Structures. All right, Civs. The Mole playing as Britons here, teamed up with Big Walt as the Magyars. I think this is the same comp we saw yesterday, if I recall correctly, with the Division B set. Over on the other side, Steve playing as the Ethiopians and Sean as the Gurharas. So already has those geese. Are we looking at geese? Ostriches? Turkeys. Yeah, I've been playing this game for 3 years and can't even remember the basic livestock provided to you. All right, so Gurharas, they've been banned, I think, in every set I've played so far in this tournament. In my division, nice to see them being played here. Yeah, so we'll see how Sean's able to play those guys. So notice in this game we have asymmetrical starting positions. So we've got the Archer v Cav and Archer v Cav on this side. So that certainly changes things up, makes Men-at-Arms or Josh, I think, a bit more viable for the Archer player. Definitely incentivizes super early aggression by the Archer player if they're going forward with a few Archers and Spears. So yeah, let's see if we get that kind of early aggression from the Archer player. Also changes the way the Cav player usually wants to wall. If you're up against Cav, common to just see real small walls on the wood line or on the berries. If you're up against Archers, obviously those aren't going to be very helpful to you. So you're probably going to prioritize getting full walls around the base aggressively. All right, I'm going to fast forward a little bit here just through the doldrums of the Dark Age, at least until we see some scouts moving forward, which indeed we now do. The Mole, taking a look at this forest. That's a lot of vills on the berries there. Where are we at with pushing? So it doesn't look like, yeah, Sean here hasn't pushed any deer, I believe, unless that was a starting group before. Just now finding his other set of sheep, or turkeys in this case. Let's see. I think those should make it home safely without being lamed. All's quiet elsewhere. Deer pushing here for the Magyars player. Deer pushing here for our Ethiopians player. And of course, scouting here for the Mole. Ooh, nice. Look at that. Actually lames those turkeys just before they get to the mill. Let's see if he's able to get away with one of those. He'll probably kill it, worst case scenario. Full HP on both these scouts. Yeah, nicely done here by the mole so far. Oh, he's going to lose that turkey, but I think he's just going to snipe it. Yeah, no turkey for you, Gahara player. Alright, but he does have 7 in there, so that's still a healthy food boost. And we've got a number of players on the way up. 21 pop for our Britain's player, 19 pop for our Magyar's player. Hello, just passing. Oh, that's incredible. Dives under the TC without being noticed and steals all of the turkeys. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, and here comes the massacre. Oh. Oh. Oh, and you're going for 19 pop uptime. That's a lot of idle time you don't want to have there. That is certainly going to delay Big Walt a little bit here. All right, stable coming down now. And only is able to get one of those turkeys back to the TC. What about on this side? Sean is up, but there's no stable coming down. Has the wood for it? Okay, there it is. A little bit of a delay on that stable. I thought maybe this would put Sean a little bit ahead, having this kind of idle time, but I think we'll be seeing pretty comparable production times. We'll have to see if Sean opts for scouts or if he opts for... Oh, interesting. All right. Here we go. Ethiopian's player going for Men-at-Arms up against the Magyar's player. Magyars do have probably the best scouts to deal with Men-at-Arms, just with the free forging. But it's going to be a hot minute before we have many scouts out on the field. Hold it open, hold it open. Nicely done there by Steve. Yeah, that'll surely be one scout down, or one villager down. Men-at-Arms upgrade not in yet, though. So I think that ended up being not really too bad there for Big Walt. Managed to at least get one of the Men-at-Arms out of the picture before it becomes Men-at-Arms. Yeah, spear forward. Big Walt's really going to have trouble engaging this now. And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. When you're an archer player up against a cav player, this is the kind of aggressive play you can go for. Another Vil goes down. Still a good amount of HP on these boys. And that's a lot of idle time there for Big Walt. That's going to impact his farm production. So far, Sean and Steve looking in a good position here. Let's take a peek over at the other side here real quickly. We've got, scouts for Sean. Looking like he wants to be aggressive on the archer player. He's not going to get in on this side, which is the side it looks like he's going for. And he's got archers bearing down on him here pretty quickly, so he's going to need some way to deal with that. Perhaps his teammate will come over with archers. Only a few of those in the bank at the moment. Maybe he can get walled in time? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, the mole here is going to keep him open. Oh, Ripperoni. Oh, no! Disaster. Loses both the Men-at-Arms and the spear to the TC. Over on this side, the archers are in on Sean here. This is a problem. Does actually eat a lot of TC fire there on the archers, so maybe if Sean can get back here with a decent number of scouts, there's no spear with those archers, could possibly get a good engagement. Oh yeah, would have been a good spot here probably for a few houses to try to hold the archers at bay. Yeah, let's see if Sean can get the clean here. No upgrades on these boys, but if he can get a good surround, might be able to take a good engagement here. The camo goes down. Mole scout goes down. Yeah, that should be a clean. Alright, but some damage was done. The Vil numbers are now even. The losses that Big Walt took were compensated for with the losses that Sean took. And let's see how they play it from here. What are we looking at for archer numbers? 10 archers on the field here for Steve. He's got a spear in the mix and a friendly neighborhood jaguar joining in on the hunting party. Yeah, wide open on the back. Should have no problem getting in here. This is looking pretty good right now for Sean and Steve. Definitely favor their position. I think Sean will get the walls finished on the other side. Now there are some skirms in defense here for our Magyar's player. That is going to slow his uptime. And so currently this game is basically getting played like 2 1v1s. Actually, Steve is bailing. He saw the skirms, and he's actually going to go over to the other side. I don't know how this is going to work out, though, because there's a good archer mass over on that side. If they can get the pinch, if the timing is right, if Sean can get his scouts over here at the same time Steve gets his archers, I think they could take a really good engagement on this. Let's see if they're able to pull that off. Yeah, I kind of think, I mean, we're up here looking from the sky in a position of omniscience, so it's easy to say these things, but I think Sean and Steve would have done better attacking here. If there's skirms out, that's going to be an easy clean for Sean. Like, if they were here right now with those archers could just be ravaging these wood lines and berries, while the scouts keep the skirms off the archers. Over on this side, nice defensive tower there for Sean, able to secure the gold. Archers, though, should be able to get in on this side, and absolutely no answer for Sean if they do get in. Both players on this side building defensive markets. Yeah, nice house wall defense there by Sean. And now, the thing to watch, I think, is probably the uptime, Castle Age uptime. Game's looking pretty even at this point. A 3-vil lead for Mole Team, and actually got a 7 military lead, but some of those are skirms, which I don't think tend to have as much long-term value in a 2v2 as they do in a 1v1. Yeah, I really like these quick walls here by the Mole. There's going to be absolutely nowhere for those archers to go. And look at this, the archers are getting jumped on by the skirms. The skirms came all the way over, and there's no cav support for Steve's archers. Those archers are going to be almost entirely cleaned. So the military lead continuing to bloom here for the Mole Team. And that's especially critical when you're talking about archers, because those can scale up to Expo in the next stage, whereas scouts only scale up to light cav. Oh, this is a disaster. Steve's still wide open. The archers are here. And yeah, this game is, I think, starting to turn considerably in the favor of Big Walt and the Mole. Hill advantage here for Mole in this fight. Also has numbers advantage. Only 2 scouts in the mix. No upgrades on those. Should be a really good fight here for Teal. There are some reinforcements for Steve. Just a little bit late, though. Alright, and we'll have to see the micro here. Who's going to be able to win this fight? There are still a number of skirms on the field. They're out in the middle at the moment. Castle Age on the way for these boys, though. I think if Mole can keep these alive to Expo. Right, this idle time is good, but try to get the idle time without losing too many units. Good micro here by both players. I think Steve getting the better of this fight will be able to clean, so those will not be Expo. But there are 15 archers left for the Mole back at home. I think a third range as well, so looking to be pretty aggressive. And look at this. Look at this. Skirm aggression in a 2v2. You don't see it that often, but this is a situation where it actually might cause a good bit of trouble because there's no cav on the field for Sean and Steve. Some scouts in the wood line. I don't know why there's no attack noises. That's peculiar. But these skirms are going to idle that gold. That's going to prevent Steve from getting additional archers on the field. And he's getting his units trimmed down here. He's going to need those to turn into Expo here in a few minutes. Nice micro, though, by Steve. Yeah, basically no Expo left. Look at that, down to 5 archers up against 19. Oof. Yeah, and here come the Expo. Expo moving out on the cav player. Now, this is a very tight base. Not going to be a lot of damage the Expo are going to be able to do, but maybe we'll see some forward siege in the mix or siege monastery. I mean, this has played out a lot like 2 1v1s, so wouldn't be surprised to see it. Maybe can harass some of these wood lines. Wait, where did the archers go? They went back home. And look at this, going for an extensive team wall here. And those,
Ready.
I think, yeah, I think the mole actually probably could have been more aggressive there. Had that uptime. You're up against a cav player before the cav player has any time to mass units. Ooh, yeah, okay. I see the worry now. You're worried that you're up against Shravamsha riders. Which, even after the slight nerf in the last patch, are still incredibly strong against archers. So it makes sense the mole wanted to be a little cautious there. He's moving to join up with his cav. The knights will offer nice protection against the Shravamsha riders. And yeah, they're going to put the aggression here on Steve. Steve not quite full walled. Yeah, and the problem is this goal is rangeable. I think it's going to be too late now to drop a tower. Without that gold, where can he go for gold? All right, got a little bit there. That's where he's dropping a second town center. Problem right now is just military count. 32 Expo versus 10. Shravamsha riders coming to the rescue, but you're going to need a lot of them to deal with this army, I think. And then Eco lead also continued to grow a bit here for Big Walt and the Mole. Yeah, that wall will not be finished in time. Britain archers ranging all day long. Here are the Shravamsha riders waiting to pounce. They're going to wait until this enemy comes into here. I think they'll try to trap them right in this area. Expo can probably hold this hill, wait till those units get here, and then dive with the Shravamsha riders. Here we go. Can this be a fight that will turn the tides back in favor of Sean and Steve? The crossbow are out of position here, though. Oh, I think they had a chance for a great pinch there. Yeah, and now these Britain Expo can just micro backwards all the day long. These Expo aren't going to be able to get any damage on those. I think that was a bit of a misplay there by Sean and Steve. They may very well still clean this army, but not nearly as efficiently as they could have. Yeah, and in fact, they do not clean it. The Britain archers remain, and still in greater numbers than Steve's Expo. Yeah, this gold's still rangeable. Look at this, 3 TC here for our Britain's player. Britain's player booming out. Has a better eco than any of our Cav players. Still 1 TC here for Big Walt. So maybe that's one thing that could get Sean and Steve back in the game, is a superior boom from the Cav player on this side, Sean. Alright, Sean thinking about diving, doesn't have quite the numbers for it. And certainly not now that the Knights are in the picture. So I like this coordination by the Mole and Big Walt, keeping their units together. That's crucial if you want to deal with Shravamsha riders. Ooh. Another TC coming down here. That TC will be finished. Nice quick one there by Sean. He will get that boy up. Alright, but the pressure is really on. 44 Expo in the vicinity. Orange not able to go out of his base yet. Alright, here he comes with a few units. Yeah, and good knight numbers now on the field. There could be a lot of damage here. Especially if those walls don't get finished on that side. This tower still coming in pretty clutch. Look at that gate instantly melt. Pressure's on. The Knights are in. Yeah, and they're just going to raid all over the place back here. They're up against a Cav player who is not going to have any sort of range attack upgrades on that TC. So those Knights can dive in there basically all day long. Now here, though, the Archers are being separated from the Knights. So those Knights, they should be able to clear those Knights. I think the Knights are going to get trapped. Oh, are those Archers going to catch these guys passing through? They have ballistics as well. That could be a bit of a massacre. Oof. Yeah, that Vil count just continuing to blossom. The initiative has basically always been with the Mole and Big Walt since mid-feudal age. And so they're getting a really safe boom behind it. Almost doubled the military count, 40 Vil lead. Very, very solid position here, and I think they've got the better composition as well. Yeah, unless those Knights get cleaned out, these Shravamsa Riders just don't have the same damage output in a melee v melee conflict. I mean, also hurting here is the fact that there's no ballistics for Steve. So his archers are just shooting at these Knights, not putting out a lot of damage. I think this is going to be a clean for the Mole and Big Walt. He's got the hill, he's got the numbers. There are a good number of Shravamsa Riders still left. Big Walt's Knights numbers are diminishing. Look at this. Knights in over here as well. Nice play there by Big Walt. Britain's using that range. Can they get the clean? Let's see. They might just camp in this little gap. Oop, trying to get on this hill. The raids continue over here. The Vil count dropping for Steve and Sean. Shravamsa Riders getting cleaned. I think this is the end. Yeah, GG is called. Very, very nicely played by the Mole and Big Walt. Yeah, what was the turning point in that game? I mean, honestly, I think things could have gone very differently. Again, if back in feudal age, when Steve had sent his archers over here toward Big Walt's base, and he ran into the 5 skirms, I think if he had kept on with that aggression and just had Sean's scouts come over and join, they could have gotten some really serious damage in. And not only could they have gotten some good damage in, I think Steve might have been able to keep those archer numbers alive, the archers that were later cleaned over here. And, I mean, just even having that initiative, keeping the enemy's army playing defense, keeping them on the other side, is often the best defense. And that would have avoided all that damage that Steve took in late feudal age, because I think that's seems to be where things sort of snowballed from. But look at this, the Mole also on his way up to Imperial Age with an excellent eco behind it. The Mole, clearly the MVP of that game, very nicely played on their part. All right, game 2. Here we go. Looking at Steppe. So this will be the home map for Sean. Enjoys lurking in derelict structures, or whatever the team name is. So 1-0 lead here for the Mole team. Reminder, this is a best of 3. And here we go. Polls in Chinese. Polls in Chinese here for Sean the Derelict. And on the other side, we're looking at Mongols and Lithuanians. So Mongols, Lithuanians, both those civs stink of early aggression. With all the hunt on this map, Mongols not only can get a really fast feudal uptime, but they can maintain that feudal uptime, because when they get early presence on the map, they're able to continue milling the deer, because with their aggression, again, it's functioning as a nice defense. So Mongols not only can get a really good feudal uptime on this map, they can also get a pretty good castle uptime and excellent scout production. Alternatively, they don't need to go scouts. They can also go archers. They could go men-at-arms. There's a lot of options here for Mongols. Lithuanians, I expect this will almost certainly be scouts. And again, you can get that fast uptime with the food boost. Over on this side, Chinese and Poles. What is the thought there? Now this is... Sean's teams have been known for some out-of-the-box strategies. Could potentially be a tower rush in the offing. I just don't know if you're going to be able to get one out in time with how fast Lithuanians and Mongols might be able to go up. Alternatively, they might be playing this somewhat defensively, trying to get stone and counting on the cheaper knight spam in Castle Age. Now, one thing here, kind of a small thing, I don't like this wood line for Sean. This wood line would have been closer, also safer. Because what maybe Sean could be thinking here is, right, work on a wall from that wood line to that TC, and then work on a wall in that direction. But even walling in that respect, this is going to be rangeable by archers. I think a lumber camp there probably would have been optimal. Then again, when you're starting on this map, you have pretty minimal scouting intel. You're working with the steppe horse, which has pretty limited vision. What's it called? Yeah, just horse. Yeah, and that's something my teammate Heuristic and I have debated about for a while, is what's kind of the optimal TC placement on steppe. I used to think this was putting it here by the wood line. Now, you don't need to build a lumber camp. Well, I guess you still need one for the purposes of advancing, but you have very, very safe access to wood. I actually have come to think somewhere like this is kind of the optimal TC location, where you have safe gold, safe berries, and then you can just build a lumber camp that's not too far off. For one thing, you need that lumber camp to advance anyways. But secondly, it's not that the berries and gold is necessarily more important than the wood, but it offers you better access to deer. Your villagers don't have to go out nearly as far. Whereas here, right, if you want to mill all these deer, you got to be quite a ways from your TC, which, unless you're Khmer, is extremely, extremely risky. Anyway, that is an aside into my own kind of thinking about how to play this map. Curious about the Chinese pick. I mean, is it possible that double unique unit is kind of where they're thinking of going? We saw double unique unit from Sean's team last season. This just does not seem like the optimal map to do it on. It's too aggressive, too fast. And, I mean, if that is the strategy, these stone are going to be very, very hard to access. I think we're just going to see feudal archers. Okay, no, 21 pop up here from Sean. So Sean is going to be going scouts, I believe. And we'll have archers here from our Chinese player, Steve. So I think we're going to see some standard feudal age play. Yep, we're going to have archers here from our Mongols player, but the uptime going to be quite a bit better here for the mole, going with a 19 pop up and starting the walling process. This is an incredible base. Look at this. 2 golds that are really safe right by the wood line. You got your TC out by the berries, so you've got good access to the hunt. Stone's really not that far from the TC. Now, you could talk about walling here, walling there, walling here. Super tiny walls that are actually going to offer you some pretty awesome protection. I think the mole has primal real estate in this game. All right, Lithuania's player actually only going with a 21 pop-up. I thought we might see some really aggressive play. It's not gonna be that aggressive. Archers coming down here for the mole, and actually we've got a drush on the field here for Steve, but he's up against the archer player with an extremely wallable base, going straight to range archers. I don't think these men-at-arms are going to get any value at all. I mean, they perhaps could harass the hunt, but at the moment, actually, the mole's not on the hunt at all right now. Yeah, Steve looking for a way in, realizing that his options are quickly fading. Nice walls there by the mole. Okay, yeah, so that wood actually should be fine, as long as these walls can get to the TC in time. Alright, Blacksmith coming down as well. Archers are already on the field. Alright, so Big Walt has some hunters still out and about. So does Steve, although these guys are idle at the moment. Yeah, so Steve's going to want to get them back as soon as possible because archers are en route. Steve just now dropping his first ranges. In fact, this second range could very likely be denied by the mole. Ooh, look at this, though. This is a nice play by Steve. The men-at-arms locating Big Walt's villagers. I think that's scouting intel passed along by Sean. Those villas are a long way from home. Big Walt going to lose the one. Nice blocking there by the other villas. I think that Bill just might escape. Over on this end, yes, that range is indeed denied. Oh, that's not good for Steve. He's going to fall even further behind on archer numbers here. And he's a long way from being walled. Look at this. Look at this. If only the mole knew. Oh, if he discovers this, that is going to be an absolute disaster. No fletching in yet, but those are a lot of archers. Actually prioritizing horse collar over the fletching. That's surprising to me. Alright, here we go. Yep, the Ville's running back home. And yeah, this is not looking great for Steve at the moment. Under a ton of pressure. May never get that range up. Yeah, these archers are just going to control the battlefield. There's a couple scouts, but not nearly enough to engage. Fletching now on the way. A couple skirms coming out here for Steve. They're going to take the fight. No fletching in. Maybe they could clean this. No fletching makes a huge difference. That's actually, I think, a great engagement by Sean and Steve. You really couldn't ask for a much better engagement than that under the circumstances, but there are scouts on the field for Big Walt. It's unfortunate they weren't there before. I think they were still cleaning those men-at-arms. Alright, so that did help. Even things out a little bit. Some more archers coming forward, though. The range up for Steve. Yeah, still a good advantage, I think, for the mole team. They've got scouts and archers out together. More archers than Steve, more scouts than Sean. And look at this, the walls just about finished over on this side. And apart from some long distance sneaking, no way in now for the enemy scouts. And actually, Sean is going for some massive walls here, it appears. Going full farm simulator. But I don't know if this game is going to last long enough for that crazy farm advantage to really kick in. Let's see. Steve's going to need to survive here. It's fortunate that his gold is down here. Hasn't been located yet by Mole and Big Walt. And right now, there's not a ton of damage that Mole and Big Walt can put on Steve. Not unless they get around to this side. If they do, that'd be pretty yikes. Right. Managed to get a couple good shots there on the scouts. Sean providing some reinforcements. I think they're looking to get a good engagement here. They don't quite have the numbers. No upgrades on any of the scouts in the mix. Yeah, and look at that armor coming in for Big Walt. I think armor is a great investment here. If they can catch these archers out in the open with the armor, they should be able to take a pretty good engagement. Good scout dance here. This is a good fight for Sean, at least if he can avoid the archers. Just cleaned 2 scouts before armor came in, and now suddenly the tide has slightly turned. Aggression heading the other way. The problem, though, Mole has so many archers on the field. 17 versus 12. Sean with no armor on those scouts, so those scouts won't be able to do much against these archers. And let's see the archer micro. I think a lot's going to come down to it. Good opening volley there for the Mole. Yeah, Sean, I think with this number of scouts, it is worth investing in that armor. And they're absolutely going to need it if they're going to be able to take a good engagement. Are we going for a team wall? Like the Great Wall of China team wall. And certainly secure them some space, although there's not a whole lot in that particular space that's that useful. All right, bit of a lull in the action. The mole getting pretty close to being able to click up. Sean actually very close to being able to click up as well. That Pole's farm eco skyrocketing his food count. But the mole, if he gets up with this number of archers turned into Expo, that could be very, very dangerous. Especially with this all still open here. Although there is a tower. I like that tower from Sean, I think. It's going to slow his ability to get additional TCs out, but he might not be thinking about TCs. He's got 5 on stone, so he's definitely thinking of getting a castle on the field here as soon as he gets to Castle Age. Getting that cheap knight spam. Question is, can they survive long enough for that to happen? Castle Age on the way for everyone except for Steve. Steve is a long way. Castle Age, only 11 food in the bank. That's a concern. That's a big concern at the moment. The mole, he's going to play conservatively here. They know that once they have Expo, they'll be in a really strong position. They just need to conserve those numbers. So they're not going to take any risks. And, okay. What did I miss? How did Steve click? Maybe he had just clicked when I saw the 11. I'm an idiot. All right. All 4 players then on the way to Castle Age. 7-vil lead for the Mole team, but pretty even military numbers. I favor Mole and Big Walt's position here a bit because of the archer numbers, and also because the good resource control that the Mole has there. This is brutal here for Steve. All these resources are out front of his base. Actually, sort of comes back to the conversation we had earlier about TC location. I think in this scenario, TC there probably would have been quite advantageous. Although then the wood might have been in danger during Castle Age. Will that stable go up? I think it will. It will. Alright. +2 armor on the way for Sean. Is he going to go for the light cav upgrade? Might be worth going for it with that number of scouts. He's about 200 stone away from being able to drop a castle. Where does he drop the castle? I think this is the spot. Be able to secure those 2 golds. Maybe drop it far enough back where it can't be ranged by the archers. And the mole actually is going to be right on that spot. Oh, this is actually, I think, pretty advantageous for Big Walt and the mole. They're occupying the real estate where Sean is most going to want to get that castle down. He may be forced to do something a bit defensive. Put a castle here, perhaps. Or maybe like right there. The question is, how is he going to be able to get a castle up? He's trying to drop a tower. I don't know if that tower is going to go up. He's going to try to jump on this with the scouts, but doesn't have the light cav upgrade in. He's diving. He's going to try to take this. Desperately wants to get that tower up, and coming in clutch here are Big Walt scouts because they are providing an incredible meat shield. All of Sean's cav have been engaging those scouts the entire time. Another tower here for Sean. Archers pinned under a few towers. I think you're still going to be pretty happy with that if you're the mole. Managed to keep his numbers alive. 11-vil lead, 11 military lead. What's the stone situation looking like for Sean? Yeah, because he had to drop those 2 towers now, he's about 300 stone away from a castle. That really sets back the game plan here. Alright, Steve has put a TC forward to occupy that location. So that's good, but we got a 3 TC boom coming in here for the Lithuanians player. And this is great. I think really great play by the Mole and Big Walt. Really nice game sense, controlling this area. They know how important those resources are. And there's still a good amount of gold here for Sean. Just got to get that castle down. Long way from being able to get that castle down. I think they are on the clock. I again, love what the Mole and Big Walt are doing. I think pressuring Sean in this situation is exactly the right thing to do. Make it really hard for him to get that castle. You know the eco is going to be pretty weak. You know he doesn't want to produce knights heavily until he's got that upgrade. Almost a team wall here for the Mole and Big Walt. Alright, Steve, where's his archer ball? Here it is. Okay, so maybe they could get a good pinch here. Let's see. They're only about 7 military units behind. Yeah, this TC coming in pretty clutch here. Do we have ballistics in? Nope, not for either team. This is a good engagement for Steve. Actually surprised Big Walt's taking that. Steve probably should have garrisoned the TC there. Could have gotten some additional damage from that. They're trying to get the pinch. Yeah, and ballistics now in for the Mole. That's going to be really advantageous in this kind of situation. Alright, Steve adding a third range. Still no ballistics on the way. I think you really want ballistics in this position. Lithuanians with a great boom, and there's the castle. Yeah, right where we talked about getting it. Oh no, there's a knight in the vicinity. But there is some relief for Sean. He's going to be able to get that castle up, I think, no problem, now that the archers are on the other side of the battlefield. And actually, kind of surprised that Mole and Big Walt are playing as passively as they are. They had the military numbers. I think they knew they had the military numbers. They could probably have afforded to be a bit more aggressive there. So no armor on any of the archers on either of these sides. And let's see, yeah, Sean should be in a good position to be able to afford the unique tech that gives the knight upgrade. Yeah, siege coming forward here from the Mole. I do like this. This TC's out front. You've got good numbers. Now the problem is that knight spam is going to start coming. I think the timing might be a little late on this. Obviously no way for the Mole to know that, but I think had that Siege Workshop come out maybe a minute ago, could have gotten some real good damage. But now the worry is that this Night Flood could be a serious problem. The difference, though, is the food. Look at this. Sean, 13 farms, 36 farms for our Lithuanians player. So I think here, yeah, the Big Walt's probably going to start adding some additional stables here pretty soon. And we'll have a very healthy Night Spam of his own. I don't know if the Pole's unique tech is strong enough even to offset that massive food discrepancy. Alright, let's see. Are the Knights going to go join up with the Archers, or are they going to try to counterattack here on Big Walt? Not much damage to be had. Yeah, I think they're going to go for the pinch. Yeah, this could be a good clean. I mean, look, Sean and Steve not out of this game by any means. They could take a great fight here, potentially. What are we looking at for upgrades? +1, +2, +2, +2 on those Knights. I think if Sean gets maybe another 10 Knights, this could be a really good engagement. Like the defensive mangonel there. Ballistics. I think ballistics is so crucial for Steve in this position. So when you have this many units on the field, that much movement, ballistics really increases your damage output of your archers. Oh, Sean, don't engage before the archers are there. No! And that's ballistics. That's a lot of free damage. I don't think that was a good dive there. The timing a little off between the two players. Oh, and gets a mango for free. All right, I think here we see the dive. It looks like, is that thumb ring in for the Mole as well? I'm not sure who has thumb ring. It doesn't show up. This fight going heavily in favor of the Mole and Big Walt. The Knights for Sean absolutely evaporated. Big Mole's archers, crazy damage output, and now things look, quite frankly, pretty bleak for Sean and Steve. I think that was a fight they needed to win to have a chance in this game. Eco now for their opponents. Really, really strong. Now, here's the thing, though. Steve, Imperial Age. Can he get enough Arbalist out to clean this army? I don't know, that's a lot of army. I don't know if there's going to be enough to cut it, the fast in play. Look at that big wall, thinking about maybe even just diving on this army before they get up. Not the worst idea. I mean, this TC can't fire arrows anymore. I think just dive on this. Get the best fight you possibly can before Chemistry, Bracer come in. Bracer 40 seconds out. Yeah, and in fact, Imp on the way here for the Mole. So if Steve is going to get it clean here, it's going to have to be quite soon. Doesn't have Bracer, though. Oh, what are the archers doing? No! They wandered right into the Knights. Oh, no. Oh, can they get forward into the prompt? Yeah, still not having ballistics here is really hurting Steve because those archers is managing to stay out of position here. What are we looking at? 41 Arbalist versus 63 Expo. The Mole falling back, I think, wisely in this case, so he can get to Arbalist himself. Steve and Sean need to press the action here. I think it's their only possible win condition is to clean this army with their tech advantage, because they're very, very far behind economically. They're pretty far behind in military count as well. Tech advantage is the only thing they have going for them right now. Ooh, that's an aggressive castle there for Sean. Kind of like it, though. Actually, I wonder if you could have even gotten away with being slightly more aggressive. All right. Ballistics is on the way. Here it comes. No chemistry, though. I think chemistry would be a really important upgrade here. I just can't afford it. All right, Knights taking engagement, though, but they're on their own. I don't think that's a fight Sean wants to take without the archers present. Ah, man, they maybe could have gotten a decent engagement there if they had their armies together. Look at this. The Mole is up. Arbalist on the way. That window has probably already closed now for Sean and Steve. Yeah, I think Big Walt and the Mole would have to throw something here. They'd have to throw in a real serious way. Look at this delightful pathing. Ah, melee units. Yeah. Relics coming in for our Lithuanians player. Lithuanians player is in Imp. Cavalier upgrade on the way. Chemistry on the way for both of our archer players, but the numbers dropping quickly here for Steve. Down to 32 Arbalist versus 57 for the Mole. And there's a massive meat shield in front of the Mole. This looks bleak. Yeah, that one condition we talked about, I think, is no longer there. No more tech advantage. In fact, the tech advantage is about to swing in the other direction. We're going to see Cavalier with a really healthy eco behind it. With some relics in the mix. How many relics? Just one at the moment. Yeah, Mongols don't have the last armor on these Arbalists, but not a big deal at the moment. Steve doesn't have actually any armor on these archers. And that's a massive Cavalier meat shield bearing down on Steve's base. This might be the GG fight right here. And indeed it is. The archers are cleaned. GG. Well played. Yeah, nicely played set. I think those are two teams that are pretty reasonably well matched. I mean, both those games, I thought there was times at which Steve and Sean were in a position to win, especially game 1. Game 2 here, I mean, it is tough. I think the Civ advantage for this map was pretty heavily in favor of the Mole and Big Walt. Those two Civs just allow much better opportunities for early aggression. And I think it really was that early aggression that ultimately swung this game, because when the mole got his archers up in Steve's face and denied that second range, that was a numbers advantage from which Steve was just never able to recover from. And the mole held that numbers advantage throughout the game. So that early aggression, I think, was a big part of the story. I thought the push here into Sean's base, forcing those towers, was another really nice move. Whether that was fully intentional, right? Whether that was the design of the move or not, I don't know. But it delayed that castle, which meant it delayed the privileges upgrade, which certainly delayed Sean's knight production. And so that meant Big Walt was in a position for an excellent boom. The macro behind this was great. Again, the mole had I think a really advantageous map generation combined with where he put his TC. Very, very defensible base. And so, yeah, there was a lot of things that I think contributed to the victory in this game. Take a quick look at the stats here. Yeah, remarkably healthy KD there for the mole. And yeah, great eco behind this for Big Walt. 2 relics in, so had those additional 2 attack upgrades. Steve with that earlier imp time, but just didn't have the mass to make good use of that tech advantage, at least not to get the sort of damage needed to swing that game back in their favor. All right, well, that will do it for the cast this morning. That was a fun set. Yeah, so we'll I'm not sure if I'll be able to cast another set this week or not. That may be it for this week, but like I said, my goal is to do at least 1, hopefully 2, possibly 3 casts per week. So I'll be back for some more action soon. I'll try to get 1 set from each division before I jump back into any of the divisions I've already casted from. So yeah, if you think your set is particularly worthy of casting, it's particularly fun or competitive, please do let me know. Send me a message, and I'll try to move it to the top of the queue. All right, y'all have a good day.